YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy D Dyson. Flaminhot, the origin of the hot Cheetos, and follows the life of Richard Montanez, and how he became the creator of the hot Cheetos. Now, watching this movie directed by Eva Longoria had everything in it, had all the feels. I feel like this was a rags to riches story. This was a pursuit of happiness, but the Vato, Mexican vibe, and I loved every bit of it because he was true underdog from start to finish, and to see his just due, man, that was like, I never had a movie in recent times where I couldn't, like, the tears were overwhelming. Like, it was really flowing because you were rooting for him from start to finish. You know what I'm saying? And just seeing how he was in the beginning of when he was a kid, just getting bullied, from just because he's Mexican, just because he's Mexican. And he's always getting bullied by white kids. So even in the beginning, he knew how to be a good salesman. His mom used to make him burritos. They were really good. White kids loved it, so he knew how to hustle. So fast forward, he met his Judy as a kid, and Judy stayed with him throughout all of it as they just, going through the life of, being in the gang, crime, and all these things, and really honed himself as what he needed to do, and it didn't shape for him until Judy was pregnant. So he was, she looking at him like, man, you got to do something. We can't keep doing this anymore. Homies come out, it's like, man, come on. While she's in there pregnant, he's kind of like, nah, I have to kind of make the right decisions. So he falls short of trying to do right, and then he finally just goes back to the block and it's like, man, let me do what I know, which is deal drugs. And the big homie from the block, Tony, it's like, no, why? You already got a family. None of us got a family. You got a family. No, you ain't doing that. But the thing about Tony is Tony works at the Frito-Lay factory on top of being the big dog on the block. And Richard looks at him like, how come, put in a good word for me, let me get on, And you could tell that at that time, he's, giving out his resume, trying to find any job. Couldn't find any, like, just do anything. Cook, wash, do whatever. He was just trying to just do whatever he could to find an honest job. And when he finally gets that opportunity to, get the application, he does what he already knows, is just gives out his resume. He has to fill out this application. Thing is, he never went to high school. So what does he do? Bring her home. And Judy was like, you know what? You got initiative. You're a smart man. You hustle. Man, let's just say that you went to San Bernardino High. So he gets the job interview, and, the interviewer kind of shoots it with him. It's like, yeah, you remember, I went to San Bernardino High too. So you remember so-and-so? And he was kind of like, yeah. And turns out he's lying, but he just kind of really has that charm, and it's like, dude, I'm really hungry. I really want to do this. Just let me do it. So eventually gets a job as a janitor, a maintenance engineer at Frito-Lay. So at least he got in the door, and you could tell it was just a changing for him. Judy over here pressing up his stuff, and becomes a janitor. Loves it at work. And he's like, man, whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. And then it's, introduced to a guy named Nacho. Nacho's like, man, calm down, man. Like, you doing too much. But he's in the factory, and that's all he needed is to, man, I'm here. And because I'm here, I'm going to learn it all. And that's the hugest thing about him was, I'm going to learn it all. And he's just in there as a maintenance worker, just as a janitor, trying to pick up what he can, just trying to understand bits and pieces. But Tony kind of looked at him and was like, man, stay in your place. You're a janitor. Don't, these guys over there, these guys right here, these guys right there. You certainly don't want to mess with him. And as Richard is in there, he's trying to talk to this black dude, which is Clarence, who operates the heating temperature for Cheetos. So he's trying to, kind of like, hey, how you doing? He was like, man, dude, I don't want to talk to you, man. Like, and everybody's like, man, Clarence is the best worker in here. Don't mess with him. And he just eventually takes a liking to Clarence, and Clarence takes a liking to him. It's like, you know what? You that's initiative. Basically, I want to learn. That's all initiative is. And Clarence take a liking to him, teaches him. Like, hey, this is over here. This is what he does. But it's just the fact that he's understanding this, but he's never moving up from being a janitor. Been a janitor for 8 long years. And going through the quips of being a janitor, not moving up, he's kind of like at the time of from the 80s, going to the 90s, it's a whole bunch of downturn and shift turns for Frito-Lay and Cheeto, where they're having factory layoffs over here, and Bakersfield, they're laying off a whole bunch of people. So he's starting seeing people getting laid off left and right, and it's like, well, he's just looking at it like, I don't want to be laid off. It's the only job I got. And just seeing his work ethic and what he wanted to do was just try to change it. And he just looked at it, was like, what could I do? And he looks at his community is, we put tapatio on everything. We put hot sauce on everything. We eat everything with tahini. Everything has spice in it. Of course, Judy. And before I get to that, his dad, Vacho, is played by Emilio, I think Rodriguez, Padrino from Mayans. And his dad was like, dude, you need to find a better job, honest job, and basically trying to get him out of the Frito-Lay factory. It's like, you need to move up. And his dad offers him to be a janitor somewhere else. And he was kind of like, what the hell? Like, why? I'm going to just stay at this job. So he gets into it with his dad because he's like, you never respected me. You always called me stupid. You always called me everything under the sun, but you never said you were proud of me, nothing. And he was like, you know what? And he threw his wife's name in it, and Judy was like, dude, I've never did that. I never went behind his back to look for help. Like, man, you mind what you got to say? I'm going to work with Richard. So she just looked at it like, you know what? We're going to make some of the best spice that you can find to put on these Cheetos. And they just whipping up everything. You just seeing them trying to find the right recipe to whip up, and they finally found it. And with, I believe his name is Bryce Gonzalez, and the kid from TikTok. So that's why I said I love this movie. One, because Eva Longoria casted him knowing that him and his dad did these famous TikToks where he was trying to get his kid will always reenact some of the most classic, hood classic movies that we know, from Friday to all these things. So I'm happy that because his dad passed away, unfortunately from cancer, that Eva Longoria casted him and like finally got him into the movie. So I was really like, that was, heartfelt within itself. But when he finally tasted the Cheeto, he was like, it burns good. So they knew they got a hit. So what he did was sprinkle it, made the slurry of it, and put it on a batch of Cheetos. And Richard got the idea to call the CEO, I think it's Robert Encino or something like that, played by Tony Shalhoub, and got in touch with him, from a janitor, just making that call, got in touch with the big boss, and then he eventually sold and sent his product to him. And the big boss comes down to Rancho Cucamonga and was like, I want to talk to Richard. Richard tried to put on this presentation, didn't really go well, but he just like, you know what, I'm going to speak from the heart, which he did. And they were going to make a line of Flaminhot Cheetos, and they did. So they looked at it in terms of, oh, it's not doing well. So you know what he did? Richard was like, man, before we lose our job about this, we're going to go out and promote it ourselves. And boom, it just spread like wildfire all through Southern California. And it blew up. It blew up. Like, it blew up. And I love seeing, like I said, that underdog, because when it blew up, Clarence finally had got, the promotion that he, desperately should have deserved, which was in Bakersfield. And then the thing is, about the last couple of minutes made me really, really tear up, because, Clarence was like, hey, and Richard asked Clarence, did they mention anything about me? And he was like, no, but something will come, because he's still a janitor. He's like, how do I help them make all this money and make them a new line of Cheetos, and nothing happens? So his boss kind of was like, man, hey, don't worry about it. Go upstairs to Sweet C, go clean up over there. He was like, sir, I don't really want it, man. Just go up there and go clean it up. So he goes up there and he sees the CEO of Frito-Lay. Was like, oh, hey, how you doing? I was just in the area, you know, and he was like, hey, what's going on? He was like, well, you know, everything's doing great. Everything's doing well. And he just cleans off the nameplate of the door and was like, you know, you're going to be the new director of the multicultural aspects, basically, of marketing and franchising for Flaminhot. And that just did it. That did it for me. And I was like, man, bro, like, this was really, really a good movie. This was a feel-good movie. I loved every minute of it because it shows you that no matter what you come from, no matter where you come from, that you can rise above it and you can do it. You know, you just got to believe in yourself and you got to believe in your dream. And if you really are passionate about what you're trying to do, nothing's going to stop you. And this man, as a janitor, nothing stopped him. You know, just random acts of God, luck, whatever you want to call it, for that lady to patch him into the CEO and change his life forever. That was huge. And this man became a multimillionaire. You know, multimillionaire, and Judy was still by his side. So I was like, looking at this, I was like, man, this was such a feel-good movie. I still almost get like emotional thinking about it because I'm like, it was such a feel-good movie. Like how we looked at Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness is really how I look at Richard Montanez in this. And I was kind of like, that rags to riches, down on your luck. He even had the lights go out trying to feed his family. And he's at a time working as a janitor when the crack epidemic came through. He could have easily went back to the streets. His homie Tony went back to the streets because his mom had cancer. But he eventually got Tony back into the plant because Tony got laid off. So it's like he went through it hard, like the hardships, and he never wavered. Never wavered. And I was like, man, this is a really feel-good movie. I recommend this 10 out of 10 to anyone. I don't know why it's not been heavy promoted. I don't know why, but of course I know why. But I love it. I really love it. Jesse Garcia as Richard Montanez, man, delivered it, all of it. He delivered. Gave you every emotion, gave you every cholo, vato. He gave you being 110% what a Mexican looks like. He gave it, all of it. And I respect it. I really respect this movie. So, you guys enjoyed my review of Flaminhot, a true hot Cheeto story. Subscribe to my channel, post a comment down below, and like the video. It's your boy, D Dice. Peace.